Initially, I think Matt would like to see Frank Castle in the same way that he sees Wilson Fisk, as another bad guy who needs to be behind bars. But what he's forced to recognize very early on is that it's not that black and white.
I need to take care of the scum that killed my family.
I think the Frank that you find in the beginning is a man who's still reeling, who's still spiraling out of control from this unbelievable traumatic event that took place. He's a man who went and sacrificed and fought for his country. He's a soldier first and foremost, but equally important, you know, a father and a husband, and a grieving father and husband. So I think you have this man who's quite unhinged from the top, and I think who he will become and how he will deal with his lot in life and his shame and his suffering and his rage. I think for me that was a big part of what the arc of the character of the season's about.
Father, why do I still feel guilty? The guilt means your work is not yet finished.
The Matt Murdock who we met last year was someone who was struggling tremendously with his Catholic guilt over his role in society. You know, is this vigilante justice? Is this something that he can reconcile with himself and understand it to be kind of God's will because he was given these gifts? Or is it something that he should shy away from and have nothing to do with because it's, you know, because he's a lawyer and he believes in law and order, and this is not how society is supposed to work. By the end of season 1, I think he's put Wilson Fisk away. He's made a difference in society. The crime rate is down, and I think he feels like he's been able to make peace with that argument in his head. So when we meet him at the beginning of season 2, there's an arrogance to him. You know, he's enjoying the work. There has been no threat that has equaled Wilson Fisk up until now. So his work has been pretty easy, and he's just having a good time, and he's a bit of a celebrity, I think, probably. You know, people recognize him in the street and know him as Daredevil, of course, with the mask on. Very quickly, Frank Castle enters into the picture, and he presents both an idea and a level of destruction that Daredevil's never even could never have even contemplated. And so he's Matt suddenly has to kind of reassess everything and figure out how he's going to deal with this new threat, and also whether he is responsible for the emergence of a threat like this.
People don't have to die. You hit them and they get back up. I hit them and they stay down.
Initially, I think Matt would like to see Frank Castle in the same way that he sees Wilson Fisk, as another bad guy who needs to be behind bars. But what he's forced to recognize very early on is that it's not that black and white. You know, Frank Castle is, of course, the people that he's targeting are the bad guys, the same people that Matt Murdock is targeting. It's really his methods that is anathema to Matt. So they, you know, initially they come to blows against each other, but then as the season progresses, there is a suggestion, and there are moments where I think that they have to recognize that working together is probably more helpful in certain situations, even if they don't agree with each other's methods.
Why are you doing this? Because I think you're a half measure. I think you're a man who can't finish the job. I think that you're a coward. You know, you're one bad day away from being me.
I'm extremely honored to play the part. I'm extremely honored to be a part of Daredevil and the show that was just, you know, so wonderfully executed last season. As far as his character, you know, he means so much to so many people, and I've said before, members of law enforcement and the military, people have gone and people have gone into to battle, you know, for our country, you know, with the Punisher emblem on their body armor, you know, they've taken that symbol. It's meant enough to soldiers that they've gone into battle with that symbol, and to me, that's just that's a responsibility. That's the highest honor. So I really want to, you know, do whatever I can to sort of get this right and to honor those people. And again, you know, this is I think these characters, the responsibility really comes in when you understand that I think when you're talking about characters that come out of graphic novels and comic books, there's so much investment that the readers, that these people have put in, because you see the comic, you read it, but so much of it sort of comes from the imagination, and it's sort of been infused in so many people's imagination for so long, and this character belongs to so many people. So I'm highly honored, and yeah, I definitely feel like a responsibility to get it right.